Hello, so welcome to another reading vlog. I think this reading vlog is going to take us up to the end of August, which means I need to finish off reading all the books for my August TBR. And there's a few, but I think maybe we can do it because also this week I'm expecting we're still going to be in lockdown here in New Zealand. We're finding out at 4 p.m. whether it's going to extend, but some kind of lockdown is definitely going to be continuing because we're still getting more and more of the Delta variant cases. Anyway, let's try not to talk too much about COVID. Let's try and spend most of our time talking about books. So, the two physical books that I want to read this week are these two. Normally I would say this is way too much to get through in a week, but maybe I can do it. And if at least I can finish this one and start this one, I'll be happy. This one here is a YA science fiction. It's the second book in a trilogy where there's this world where they're having like a world war, except the world war is held out in space so it doesn't bother the people on the earth, and also the spaceships out in space are driven by people's minds, and it's teenagers that drive these spaceships because it's only teenagers who are able to adapt to having the chip in their brain that lets them control them. So we're following a fairly unlikable character as he's learning how to participate in this war. He's still kind of in the training academy, and he did some pretty awful things in the first book. So I'm really interested to see whether in the second book, S.J. Kincaid can redeem him. I suspect she's going to make him even worse, which I'm kind of interested to see how that's going to go down. The other one that I have is Someone Like Me. This, I think, is like a thriller. I mainly just got it because I've read other things by Carey that I liked. But I think there's like a woman and then sometimes her dark side comes out. I don't know more than that, but I'm looking forward to picking it up. There are a few other things I have. I've got two audiobooks. So firstly, I've got Sisters of the Snake, and I can never remember the authors' names. Serena and someone Nanua. Anyway, they are twin sisters, and this book I believe is going to have some kind of twin element in it, as well as being inspired by Indian mythology. I did actually start listening to it today while I did a little bit of housework in my lunch break. So we've got one character that's like a street urchin thief type character, and then we're also going to be following the princess, and I believe they're going to discover that they look the same and swap places. I'm hoping that they're going to be twins because this is written by twins, and that's the whole thing that's making me excited about this book. So fingers crossed. The other audiobook that I want to read this week is The Republic of Thieves by Scott Lynch. So this is the third book in the Gentleman Bastards series. The fourth book is supposed to be coming out this year, although I seriously have doubts that it's going to come out this year or in fact anytime soon. But I thought, why not catch up on the series while I'm interested in it, and we'll see how we go. So the series follows Lochlamora, who is a thief, and he has this gang of thieves, and they basically just kind of do different heists, but there's a few other things going on in the world as well, and I'm really interested to see whether this third book is going to do more with that. I heard the third book has the love interest involved in it, and that's what I'm really hoping for in this book. Do I have anything else? Oh, I also have the ebook of Defekt by Nino Cipri, which is the sequel to Finna, which is this world with like multiverses. In the first book, there were these furniture store employees who had to try and track down one of their missing customers who'd fallen through this portal into these other universes. It's kind of just fun YA sci-fi, so I'm interested to get to that if I can. I don't know if I can get to all of this, but we're going to try and we will see what happens. I feel like I should have more time at the moment in lockdown because I don't have to commute, but somehow I don't seem to have more time. I think it's because I'm using up all my spare time and sleeping in, which I'm not entirely mad about, but it does mean I haven't been getting as much reading done as I would hope to have done. I pretty much just spent my whole time here on the couch, working most of the time. Some of the time. But reading wise, I did manage to get through the first part of Sisters of the Snake, so I think I'm 25% through so far. I'm not minding it, but it is fairly basic YA fantasy. There's nothing too mind-blowing yet. I kind of like the magic, but we haven't learned much about it. I suspect it's going to be quite interesting mythology. Like the princess character has a snake familiar, and I suspect the other sister might as well. Pretty sure they're sisters. I will also say though, at the end of the first part, they've swapped places. One's going to stay in the castle pretending to be a princess while the other one goes off to investigate something, and neither one is at all prepared. They made this plan to swap places with like 5 minutes conversation. They didn't give each other any information. Neither of them knows anything about how the other one lives. It's going to be a disaster. And I don't know why anyone would ever believe that that was a good idea. But it's fiction, so like, it's okay. I will continue with that. The other thing I'm reading is Vortex. This, I feel like I'm not in the mood for teenage boys at the moment, and our main character is a teenage boy. And it's a lot of just like mucking around at this military school. Hasn't been anything too serious yet. And I feel like it will get more serious as we go on, but so far it's just quite lighthearted, which is not actually what I'm interested in for this book. But I'll try and read some more of it tonight, and hopefully I can get past the lighthearted stuff into the drama stuff, which is what I want. But I guess if I actually want to do some more reading tonight, I need to go off and finish some work, and I need to get some steps. Honestly, I've just sat on the couch all day and I have done not even 1,000 steps today, and it's like past 5 o'clock in the evening. That's not good. But also, it's really cold and I don't want to go outside, even though it's not raining. I don't know. We'll see what I manage. Hello, so it is Friday and I am not working today. It's really weird. A lot of people had leave at work and they've all put it off because of the lockdown, and then they're really confused, like, why do you have a day off? What on earth are you going to do? But I still have my regular infusion that I get for my Crohn's disease, or I'm pretty sure I think I had it on level 4 last time, and they haven't messaged me to say it's cancelled, so I'm pretty sure we're going ahead with it. I am a little bit early because I was really paranoid that my car wouldn't start after I hadn't used it for like 2 weeks. But it was only 2 weeks. It was fine. So I'm here a little bit early. My goal for this infusion is going to be finishing off a Vortex. I think I'm like 250 pages through it, and it has started getting like a little bit darker. There's kind of this whole element where the war out in space is funded by all these corporations that essentially run the world, and really it's in the best interest of these corporations to keep the war going because they're making a lot of money for it. And I guess as well it's kind of helping to keep people under control. But our main character, being a troublemaker, is really not getting along with these corporations. So that's interesting. He also has a connection with this girl on the other side of the war. And I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. If he betrays her again, I'm going to be annoyed at him. But I'm going to try and finish this during my infusion. As well, I have been listening to Sisters of the Snake. And how far through am I? I can't work my phone. So I'm 60% through. And like, I'm finding myself not super engaged, and it's not because it's not good. Like, it's fine for a YA fantasy, it's fine, but I just feel like I know exactly kind of the direction it's following. There's no surprises. Like, it's enjoyable enough to follow along with, but I know what's happening. It's kind of just like a very well-known story almost, even though I can't think of any stories that I've read like this. Or have I watched any movies where people swap places and try to be each other? I don't know if I have, but I still feel like you know exactly how that kind of story is going to go down, right? I do like the little bit of snake magic we're getting, but again, probably not as much of that as I would like. So we'll see whether we get more of it. I'm going to try to finish that off today as well, because I have other books that I wanted to read by the end of the month, and if I'm going to get to those, I really need to get to these today. So that's my goal, and we'll see how I go. Hi. So, what is happening? I finished my infusion. That was all fine. It did take them quite a long time to find my veins. I've got 3 holes in me instead of 1. But I did that. Then I went to the supermarket. It was not too busy, but still lots of annoying people putting their trolley right in the middle of the aisle, even though people are meant to be social distancing. Although mostly there was stock of everything I wanted. So, like, that was fine. Then I somehow have just become very stressed about work. It's my own fault, I think, for leaving my Slack notifications on. And then my team kind of did a really dumb thing just now, which even if I was there, I probably wouldn't have known about, but I'm still annoyed about it. Anyway, let's talk about reading. So I didn't quite meet my goal of finishing this during my infusion, but I'm super close. Like, I think it's actually 50 pages, but like, oh, it's just this much. It's like nothing. And I feel very close to the end, and some exciting things happened. Oh, one thing I will say though, so there's a big part of the plot point which all hinges on the fact that they go to Antarctica, where there's this big data center essentially, and they talk about this data center being in Antarctica because they save so much on air conditioning by having the servers there, so they don't need to cool them down, right? But recently it's been quite cold in the mornings or overnight, and often when I pick up my phone, if I unplug it, it turns itself off because it can't handle how cold it is. And I just feel like a data center in Antarctica would not be saving money, because you would probably need to actually keep things warmer so that the computers would keep working. That's what I feel like anyway. But I'm willing to overlook that, because what happened in Antarctica was quite exciting and also very important for the main character's growth. He has redeemed himself pretty well in this book. He's still kind of a dick sometimes, but I will say, like, kind of all the teenage pranks and just fun stuff at the beginning that I wasn't that into, it does still kind of hide some really key clues to some of the darker mysteries that are going on. And I am really liking the characters, especially some of the characters are somewhat morally grey, or at least you don't know what side they're on. People who are supposedly good but they're doing bad things, and people who you think are bad but also they're maybe doing good things. So I'm really enjoying it, and I'm super excited to finish this off. Definitely going to finish this off tonight. As well, I listened to most of Sisters of the Snake. I think I've got like a couple more hours to go, which is not very long. I'm still not super engaged in it, but I was thinking, I think part of the problem is the audiobook. There's a particular style of narration that I feel like a lot of YA fantasy audiobooks get, this style of narration where every single line is read in a really dramatic way, and it just means that everything's at this high drama level, and it makes it feel even more unnecessarily angsty than it is. And then when there is actually dramatic things happening, there's nowhere for the narration to go to really pull that above the rest of it. So I definitely think the audiobook is hampering my enjoyment. But like, I would say it's fine. I think if you are YA, the demographic that this book is for, or you haven't read a lot of fantasies, you could potentially enjoy this a lot. Like, I'm not disliking it. I just feel like I want some more surprises. And it's not like it's all predictable, but the broad direction things are going in is very predictable. Anyway, if I can manage it, I will finish that off tonight as well. I think this afternoon we did get an announcement. I missed it because I was at the supermarket, but we're going to be staying in lockdown level 4 probably for a couple more weeks, to be honest, at least until next Tuesday. So that's fine, because I have lots of books to read, so I will try to get that done. And maybe go for some lockdown walks if I can motivate myself, and if it doesn't rain. I think it's going to rain. Good morning. So I'm having a very slow start to the day. Today it's almost midday, like 3 minutes to midday. Almost said 3 minutes to midnight. That's not the song. I'm actually feeling better than I have in ages physically, but I also feel like my motivation is zero. I don't know. I'm just annoyed about work, and it's the weekend, so I shouldn't be annoyed about work, but it's not even work that's annoying me. It's like the concept of work. I don't want to do it anymore. Which is not a great place for my head to be in. So I'm going to try to not worry about work and focus on the fact that I have the weekend to do whatever I want to do. And there are a few things I want to do. Firstly, let me tell you about my reading, because last night I did manage to finish off both the books. So I finished off Vortex and I really liked it. The end was really action-packed and also like kind of emotional. I did notice yesterday actually there's a little bit at the bottom of the book which says what's in it: action, friendship, and sci-fi, and that's, I think, pretty accurate what you get from this book. I know I said kind of the first half wasn't exactly what I was looking for, but it did set things up for the second half, which I really enjoyed. I especially really like, there's like an aspect of this book where all these teenagers have these chips in their heads that can affect how they perceive things, and so sometimes they're manipulated using that. There's a lot of like also joking, like infecting each other with viruses for fun, which can be fun, but then it also goes into this part where it can be used in really dark and twisty ways as well. So I'm excited to get to the next book in the trilogy at some point. Hopefully soon, maybe. We'll see. Then as well, I did finish listening to Sisters of the Snake. And I think I realized it's going to be a trilogy. I don't know why I didn't realize it was going to be a trilogy. It's a YA fantasy. Of course it's going to be a trilogy. But things wrapped up pretty well in that first book, and I feel like I might leave it there. It was fine. It was good. I think people will like it. But for me, it's not quite what I'm looking for in a fantasy. Like, it was written fine. I just want things to be a bit more twisty and a little bit more unexpected, whereas this, I just felt like it was typical fantasy, which sounds like a diss. I think it was fine. It just wasn't for me. Anyway, what is for me is the book that I started reading this morning, which is Somelike Me by Carey. It's very intense. In the first few pages, we had a domestic violence incident because we're following this woman named Lizzie, and her husband is an asshole. Her ex-husband is an asshole. She's got 2 kids with him, a 16-year-old and a 6-year-old. And in the very beginning, they have this incident, and we're just kind of dealing with the fallout from that. But during this incident, she had a moment where she felt like she was no longer in control, that somebody else took control of her body. And I feel like that's the direction this book is going in, that it's going to look more into that, because there was also one other chapter with this other girl who's like a 16-year-old girl who in the past was kidnapped, and since then she's been on a bunch of like treatments and getting psychiatric help to try and deal with the consequences, the trauma that she went through as part of that kidnapping. And she's been having nightmares, and then things, she calls it like changes, things she thought they were a certain way and then suddenly they're different. So she's not really doing very well. And she's the same age as the son of the first woman. So I expect there's going to be some connection there as well. I'm also really hoping that the men in this story who are assholes are really going to pay for it. That's what I want from this book. But I also suspect it's going to be fairly traumatic. I read on the front, it does actually say, a clever thriller that left me utterly bereft when I'd finished. So maybe this will turn into a crying blog. I am going to try and finish this weekend. It's like a 500-page book, so that might be optimistic, but I'm going to try. I do have some other things I want to do today. I want to schedule my video for tomorrow, as well as edit up my TBR to put up on Monday maybe. I wanted to get it up earlier, but probably that's not happening. I think that's enough booktube stuff to do today, if I can find time to do that today. I do also need to sort out some house stuff this weekend. I'll show you. Ugh. So last week I moved my bookshelf into my lounge, and like there's a few things I could still tidy up in here, but mostly I'm really liking what's happening with the lounge at the moment. I'll leave it like that for a little while to like experiment. However, consequences are that in my office, where I used to have my bookshelf on this wall, there's now just a big blank, and like you can see where I've ruined the paint, and the whole room just feels weirdly empty. My desk has turned into a disaster. I used to have the desk by the window, but I felt like it was really blocking the light, so I've moved it over here, but I think now it's blocking the doorway. I need to get rid of all of this junk. I might move these drawers somewhere else so I can move the desk over. I need to tidy up this mess, and I just somehow need to figure out how to make this room functional again, because I did work on the couch all last week for work during lockdown, which I kind of liked, but I feel like my arm is sore as a consequence. So it would be better if I was able to work on my desk. So my goal for this weekend is to make this room at least functional. It probably needs some purchases to make it properly like I want it, which I can't do at the moment during lockdown, but if I can at least make it functional, I'll be happy with that. Okay, so I haven't managed to be very productive today. I definitely lost some time. I accidentally played Pocket Camp. I may have had a nap, even though I already slept like 9 hours last night. Anyway, not the most productive day. However, I did manage to tidy up my desk. It's like a real desk now, somewhat functional at least, even if that wall needs some attention. The rest of the room is still a bit of a disaster, but whatever, I'm not worrying about it. What I have been doing is reading this. I have only got 150 pages through, which really, given the fact that I didn't really do anything else today, I should have gotten further in it. But still, 150 pages and I am really liking this. I don't entirely know what's happening. So both of our perspective characters have like psychological problems as a result of this trauma that they've had, and they kind of know that some of the things they're perceiving probably aren't really happening. Although just recently I've started thinking, what if they are happening? I don't know if this book is going to have a speculative twist to it. I mean, I know The Girl with All the Gifts, Emma Carey's other book, was all like a zombie apocalypse type book, so there's definitely a possibility that this could have some kind of science fiction or speculative element to it. But there's a bunch of really weird things going on and I'm trying to figure out how they connect to each other. At the same time though, like I really care about the characters, and I think that it's using like multiple personality disorder or dissociative personality disorder as like a plot point, but at the same time I feel like it does a pretty good job of being compassionate and like treating that mental health issue with like respect, and the people who are suffering from it, it's really like making you care about them and understand them. So yeah, I feel like even if this was just a straight contemporary, I would be enjoying reading it. But the fact that it's also got weird speculative stuff in it, and I have one theory where if it was that, it would be amazing. I don't know if it will be that, but like either way, I'm enjoying the journey of this. I really hope it doesn't ruin itself in the next 350 pages, because at the moment this is like maybe a favorite. My camera just stopped filming. I don't know why. Sometimes it seems to do this thing where like it will stop filming after like 3.5 minutes, but other times it's fine, and I don't know what it is that causes it. It could be that I'm resting my finger on the record button and I'm an idiot. It could be that. Can you really trust your perception? Maybe not. I'm gonna go and read some more of this and then probably go to sleep, and then I'll let you know how it's going. I'm kind of scared for the characters, but also scared that this book will do something bad because it's such a sensitive topic. Anyway, I'm gonna finish it. Hello, so it's Sunday now. Wow, can you hear that echo? I need to put some more stuff in this room because when I talk here, it sounds really echoey to me. I don't know what it's going to sound like to you guys, but it's kind of awful. Anyway, it's Monday now because on Sunday I was trying to edit a video and my computer was really struggling, and I was trying to upload it and it was still struggling, and it's been struggling for a little while, but I restarted it and now it's completely dead. I have tried multiple times to reinstall the operating system and it just doesn't want to. I've spent many hours on it yesterday, and at this point I've just decided that I'm not going to worry about it for now. I'm just going to have to be without a laptop for a while. I'm going to try and download the video files onto my iPad and see if I can edit my TBR on that, which does mean, one, it's going to be super late, and two, I might not even be able to do it on my iPad. It might just make me too angry. I remember I did look at iMovie on my iPad and I thought it was terrible, so we'll see. Anyway, that was not such a fun day, but I did manage to read a little bit of Someone Like Me, so I'm now up to page 374, and I realized that August, I thought it finished today, but it finishes tomorrow, so I've got today and tomorrow to finish it, and it's like 120 pages, so I should easily be able to do that. Easily-ish. I hope so. The only thing with this, so I am still really enjoying it, but it hasn't really done what I thought it was doing with the mental health rep. I thought it was like taking that multiple personality trope, but like doing the mental health rep properly. Not really. I mean, it's still respectful, I think, and compassionate, but it's weird. I can't really say much more than that without spoiling it, but I guess when I finish this, I can see whether the ending is at least satisfying. I'm hoping so. The other thing that I started reading yesterday is the audiobook of Republic of Thieves by Scott Lynch. So it's the third book in the Gentleman Bastards series following Locke Lamora and his gang of thieves. And this third book seems like it's going to do more like what the first book did, which is where it alternates between a plot thread in Locke Lamora's childhood as well as his adult life. So far I only really listened to the first part, which was him as a young thief at the bottom of the pecking order. And he just met his love interest, the love of his life, and I love her already, so I'm excited to see what's going to happen with her in this book, because that's really what I've been waiting for with these Gentleman Bastards books. So right now, even though it's horrible and rainy, I'm going to go out for a walk because I have just spent way too much time inside yesterday with my computer being annoying. Too much time inside being stressed. So I'm going to go outside for a walk. Even if I get wet, then I'll come home and have a nice warm bath or something. But while I'm out, I'll listen to the Republic of Thieves, and then when I get home I will maybe try to edit a little bit on my iPad, and definitely I will read some more of Someone Like Me. Hello, so long day at work, but last night I did manage to finish Someone Like Me after I went for my nice lockdown walk. Actually, was it nice? No, it was windy and freezing, but still, I came home and I finished reading this, and there was bits where I teared up. Also, the end was very action-packed and like very thrillery, so that was good. I don't know, like in the beginning I thought this might be a 5-star, and there are definitely elements that could have made it a 5-star for me, but probably it's just a 4-star. I did really like it. I could also see that some people would really not like it, which probably explains why it doesn't have like a stellar rating on Goodreads, but it's not terrible. I liked it. It's really hard to say anything about it without spoiling what's really happening. So other than just saying, you know, there's this woman and sometimes this dark side comes out of her, everything else is kind of spoilers. I mean, there's the other character who's been kidnapped in the past and she's quite traumatized from that, and then the two have a relationship through the first woman's son. Oh, this is the worst synopsis. I mean, basically, we've got one woman who has been through domestic abuse and she's still having altercations with her ex-husband, and then we've got a friend of her son, or a girl that her son makes friends with during the book, and this other girl has been kidnapped in the past and she's quite traumatized from it and having quite a lot of like psychological issues as a result. And then of course their two stories come together. I don't know, I think some people would like this, but I don't know how to tell you whether it would be you. But I quite liked it, and it did make me tear up. Oh, I rushed through the ending because I just needed to find out what was going to happen. Anyway, I feel like this was a reading vlog of 2 parts. In the first half I was reading a bunch of YA, and then in the second half I was reading this, which was definitely not YA, despite the fact that half the characters are teenagers. Well, the main characters anyway, but definitely not YA. Very adult themes. Quite dark. So that's a bit weird, but it's the end of the month. I read... Oh no, I didn't. Did I? Vortex, Someone Like Me. Oh yeah. I did manage to read this month all the books from my TBR machine picks, so that's good. I have a disaster September TBR, so we're gonna have to just see how that goes. But anyway, do let me know if you have read any of the books that I talked about in this vlog, because if you have, I would love to talk with you more about them down in the comments, or let me know if you are interested in reading them, or of course anything else. I'd love to chat with you. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you are doing well, and I will see you next time.